The builder base is cooked. I said it. I've actually been meaning to make this video for a while now, but I didn't. Part of me was hoping it would get better. Part of me thought it was only a matter of time until attention would be kind of shifted towards the builder base. And part of me just didn't want to be the guy to complain. But I can't really run from this reality anymore. I mean, Supercell themselves have admitted that they have no clue what they want to do with the builder base. I'd like to outline this video and what I'll be covering. First, I want to explain to you why Builder Base 2.0 failed in the first place. Second, I want to explain how to fix these problems. Third, I'm going to kind of tell you my own sort of solutions and possible implementations and ideas. And fourth, I'm going to talk about myself. And for those of you who would like it, I'll be adding chapters so you can skip around, but let's get right into it. Why did Builder Base 2.0 fail? Well, I've seen many comments, posts, and even full-length videos explaining why people think 2.0 failed. But I personally think all these are kind of dumb and biased. They never really gave it a chance, and instead they kind of just found reasons to dislike it because it was new. And their reasons for why it failed are more just what they didn't personally enjoy about it, not what was actually wrong with it. So from the perspective of someone who actually enjoys the builder base, I would like to outline what the 7 key problems are. Number 1, there's bad farming mechanics. Number 2, bad progression. Number 3, bad matchmaking. Number 4, a bugged trophy pushing system. Number 5, a lack of a competitive scene or system. Number 6, stage 2. And number 7, a lack of purpose. Now, most complaints about the builder base are made up of 3 or more of these key problems depending on how much you play. At a casual level, you may only suffer from 3 of these problems, but the more you try to enjoy the builder base, the more problems you'll find preventing you from being able to do so. This is also kind of a key problem with the builder base. The more you try to enjoy it, the more it's going to try and ruin it for you. The very moment you begin to play the builder base, you're met with the first 3 problems. Unlike the home village, the loot you earn is completely dependent on the quality of your attack. This is a problem for many reasons. Number 1, it drastically reduces the amount of resources you can even earn. To give you an example, let's just compare the home village and the builder base real fast. In the home village at Town Hall 8, it costs you 1,000,000 gold to upgrade an air defense, which is a pretty good defense at that level. And that would probably take 2 to 3 attacks to get that loot and maybe take 20 minutes, maybe. On the other side of this, let's say you're a Builder Hall 5 and to upgrade the cheapest defense, it costs 600,000 gold. Well, first you get your star bonus of 180,000 gold and 4 attacks, but now you need 420,000 more gold and you don't have another star bonus until tomorrow. So you're kind of left with 2 options. You can either A, wait for your next star bonus until you get the necessary loot. That would take 4 days, which a lot of people are kind of impatient to wait for. Or B, if you want to actually grind out the upgrade, it's going to take a while. On an average of 2 stars per attacks, it will take you more than 24 attacks to get enough resources to start the cheapest defense in the builder base upgrading. And considering that most attacks are 2 minutes to actually kind of complete, that means it would take roughly 50 minutes to get the required loot. That's pretty stupid. This in turn results in the majority of players just force quitting the app playing capital style to grind loot. That means to farm the builder base, there's no thinking involved, there's no enjoyment, you're not even playing the game. You're quite literally quitting the game. Considering this is the only logical method to farm in the builder base, it's obvious that no one's really going to enjoy this. And to segue kind of cleanly into the next problem, the 24 attack estimate I mentioned doesn't take into account the terrible matchmaking system, which only matches players based on trophies, not on their Builder Hall level, meaning that Builder Hall 3s can be put up against Builder Hall 10s, maxed Builder Hall 10s. So imagine you're playing a game where the only way to progress is to do a high percentage attack, and then when you try to do a high percentage attack, you're matched up against a maxed out player. That's pretty stupid. Yet again, I mean, who would want to play a game like that? In the home village, you can get mismatched, sure, but you can choose to not attack the base. In the builder base, that is not an option. So yeah, I honestly really wouldn't enjoy it either because there's no way to progress because you can't even fairly attack a majority of the time. I mean, it's almost funny how the whole purpose of Builder Base 2.0 was to improve the attacking mechanics, which I will tell you they did amazingly, but most players don't even get to utilize the new mechanics because it's just inefficient for farming and pointless defense up against over-leveled players. Anyway, let's say ignore all of that. All of this farming and fighting maxed players it's still pointless because progression is just so incredibly bad. I mean, a nice way to kind of compare this is to look at the hidden Tesla. In the home village, it takes 8 days to upgrade a hidden Tesla to level 15. That is max for Town Hall 15. And in the builder base, it takes 10 days to upgrade a Tesla to level 10. I mean, yeah, I know these comparisons are a little bit rough, but let me just give you one here. Is that upgrading your multi-mortar to level 6 at Builder Hall 6 would take longer than upgrading an air defense at Town Hall 12. That's pretty stupid. Why is Builder Hall 6 taking more time than Town Hall 12? I mean, that just makes no sense to me personally, especially for a portion of the game that's supposed to kind of be a side village. I don't think it should take more time. And this is made more ridiculous when you consider that for half of the builder base, you only have one builder, and even for the other half, you only have two. So you're doing upgrades 1 or 2 at a time that take longer than Town Hall 12 upgrades when they have 5, maybe even 6 builders. That's so stupid. This is just a recurring theme. I don't know how to explain it other than this. It feels like the idea for builder base was just, what if we take everything in the home village and make it significantly worse in every aspect? From the very beginning, it is essentially unplayable, unenjoyable, and pointless. But let's say you hate yourself and you actually max your builder hall as a builder hall 10. You can't even trophy push. The leaderboard system is so significantly broken that legitimate trophy pushing, quite simply, is not possible. 3 out of the 5 most recent number 1 finishes were win traded for. So that sucks, but all 5 of them were heavily affected by inflation. That is just so ridiculous. The fact that inflation still exists over a year later after it's been complained about every single month for it seems like. I mean, for those of you who don't know what inflation is, it is when a player is able to do numerous attacks without taking any defense. So people at the end of seasons will just do numerous attacks because they won't take their defenses until after the season ends. But who cares? Because they're going to get a good finish. Like, people have done 30 plus attacks with no defenses to secure top 10 positions, stealing them from the rightful owners. That is so ridiculous. You're telling me you can do 30 attacks? You can gain 50 trophies for every attack, by the way, at a maximum. So that is a maximum of 1,500 trophies you're letting a player get for free. This ruins the game in ways I just can't even completely vocalize. It is so upsetting to me and other top players, the fact that you can play the entire season legitimately, trying hard, winning matches, building bases, and a random player will knock you out of the top 10, stealing your finish because he is abusing a glitch is just astounding to me. It is astounding to me that a bug like this will persist in a game even after a year has gone by. I mean, in addition to that, same as in the home village, win trading is quite prevalent and is the cause of multiple illegitimate number 1 finishes. For both of these reasons, I cannot trophy push, and many others can't either. That is so extremely upsetting to me. The most dedicated portion of the player base, the people who have pushed past all the stupid problems in the builder base, the people who found a way to enjoy a system which inherently is broken, flawed, and time-consuming, meticulous, and tedious, have found a way to push past everything, cannot even enjoy the game. We can't do anything, and are instead ignored, resulting in the inevitable inactivity from top players. Who's going to play the game? I'm trying so hard to play this game. All right, you got to understand, I've been making content on the builder base for, I want to say, almost coming up on 2 years in May. And I'm trying so hard to enjoy the game. I love the attacking mechanics, but I can't even make content off the game because I can't even trophy push. So I'm running out of things I can personally do with the game because I cannot push trophies because It doesn't work. You'll get caught in cloud times, and then I'm gonna be pushed down to probably top 20, which is a terrible place to be. And I don't want to make content because I'm gonna be pissed. I can't pretend to be happy. Look at me. I'm number 20 in the world when I deserve to be number 4 because this player doesn't take a single defense. I mean, it is just so incredibly upsetting to me that I can work so hard to ignore all of these stupid problems, and even still the most dedicated player base does not get to enjoy the game no matter what they do. No matter what they do. So yeah, we're losing players every month. I mean, it started losing players, I want to say, back in October of last year. It's been a year since we started losing players, and every month less people play because more people realize this pushing system is just, can't say that word, but stupid. It's just stupid. People aren't quitting because of a lack of content. Obviously, we would love more content, but if a system was implemented which didn't just completely ruin player experience, it would still be able to be enjoyed. But unfortunately, that is the only option you have when it comes to being competitive. There's no wars or systems in place to run tournaments, and as a result, there's no real reason to even get good at the game. You can't trophy push legitimately, and there's nothing in place to allow someone to run a tournament without extreme difficulty. So, yeah, it's just, what's the point of getting good? Another thing I see a lot of people complain about is Stage 2, and I feel like this was a really controversial addition. And what's interesting to me is that people who are conflicted about Stage 2 don't even agree on what they dislike about it. Some feel that it is stupid because they can't just surround the base in P.e.k.k.as or baby dragons and close the app and get a 6-star, whereas others feel it's stupid because it's just too weak. So the one thing everybody unites about, though, is that it currently has no real point to it. At lower builder halls, you only get a handful of defenses on it, which means if you just bring a giant, you'll almost always clear it with flying colors. And the case is honestly very similar for every builder hall. It's always too weak to really have a reason to be there. So as a result, it's really just an obligation to attack rather than a challenge. And additionally, it just doesn't prevent top players from trading 6 stars with one another, kind of just soft locking them in a trophy position. And lastly, this is probably the most important problem with the builder base. There is no purpose to the builder base. This is the largest problem there is. What is the point of playing it and upgrading it when there's no reason you have to? If you only want the 6 builder, you can rush and then ignore it for the rest of time. So once you've gotten the 6 builder, logically, why would you keep playing it? It takes hours to get the necessary loot to upgrade one defense as you're facing unfairly overleveled players that you just have absolutely no chance against, only to start one upgrade which will take a week or longer to finish. And all of this work for what? Because one day you might max out Builder Hall 10 and try trophy pushing in a system where you have to play hours a day because you gain no trophies because the opposing players and you are constantly trading 6-star with 6-star because Stage 2 is too easy, and after all the time you spend playing, your finish gets stolen by a handful of players who take no defenses, allowing them to gain more than 1,000 trophies and beat you, or your finish is stolen by a win trader. Every step of the way, the game has no purpose and very little enjoyment available. No matter what place you are, what builder hall you are, it is so hard to enjoy the game. How do you fix this? Well, each of these 7 problems has a solution. Number 1 is to change the farming system. It should be something that players actually benefit from being more involved. I understand the idea where you want to make it so, oh, you need to do a good attack to get good loot, but then players aren't gonna do that because it's like, okay, there's no easy objective here. In the home village, you have an easy objective. You got resource collectors, gold, and elixir. That's what your objective is. Your objective is to get the loot. In the builder base, the objective is just to do a good attack, I guess, and you don't need to think to do a good attack. So It's a very loose suggestion. I have a more in-depth suggestion about how I personally would change it. That'll be later in the video, but change the farming system. Number 2, shorten upgrade times. I've been told that the reason for the long upgrade times is that they didn't want players to run out of content before they could add more content, so they just made it take longer before you would finish. Obviously, this just ends up making players bored and annoyed, and it deters them from wanting to finish it at all. So I would suggest lowering upgrade times a lot and at least make them just more reasonable. I mean, 2 builders with week-long upgrades is crazy. Number 3, change matchmaking to be determined or at least heavily influenced by your builder hall level. It shouldn't rely strictly on trophies or else it'll just keep ruining player experience. Number 4, inflation is a very simple problem in my opinion. It is caused because players can do unlimited attacks without needing to take defenses. Just implement a strict limit on the amount of open defenses a player can have above 6,200 trophies. This way, it doesn't affect literally anybody else but the top players where that needs to actually do something. Don't allow people to search for an attack if they're waiting on 4 or more defenses. That will drastically prevent inflation, drastically reduce cloud times, and drastically make top players happier. Number 5, a competitive system is kind of a difficult problem to solve for them in all honesty. I mean, unless Supercell is interested in adding a custom tournament system into the game, it's kind of up to the players to code bots or create a website to do it, which I actually currently am working on. So this is kind of a problem I'm personally going to try and fix on my own, and if anybody would like to help me, please feel free to message me on Discord. My link should be in the description. Number 6 is the weak stage 2. Weak stage 2 is a problem for, I want to say, every builder hall. But my solution to it isn't perfect and it would take a lot of effort. I would like to explain that more later into the video. So here instead is a very loose band-aid solution that would at least allow top players to not trade 6 stars constantly. I feel like top players are really the most prevalent group complaining about stage 2, so maybe just fix it for them and we'll figure out the rest later. But here's what I would do. Is above 6,200 trophies, just remove 1 or both reinforcement camps and that'll make it more difficult. This is a necessary removal to increase the difficulty. That way it's not just 6 star up and then 6 star minus 6 star plus 50, 6 star minus 50. You know, it's not a perfect solution, but it's a solution that would require minimal effort and change from Supercell, which is why it's the one I suggest. Of course though, none of these fixes change the fact that there is no purpose to the builder base. This, yet again, is the largest problem in the builder base. What's the point? You cannot try and change or fix the builder base without first asking yourself this. So, to segue into the next portion of this video, I would like to offer my own perspective on what the point of the builder base could be and what implementations could come in addition to that to strengthen that point. Before we get too far into this, I want to remind you that these are all my concepts and just kind of thoughts I have had. So Supercell, if you're interested but you don't exactly like it, remember this is not, oh, let's do this exact idea. It's, here's an idea, why don't we look at this and figure out maybe how we can make it work. So feel free to message me, all right? I will message you probably before you message me, but yeah. First, I propose a Clash Royale style barrier on leagues. Once you reach a new league, you can no longer go below it, at least until 5,000 trophies. I propose this because it is inevitable that farming will always be part of the game, so I would personally rather farming players get grouped up in a pool with each other. That way they don't continue to drop trophies and negatively affect lower level players. I know personally that is currently what's happening, that a lot of higher level players are dropping trophies because it's easier to get loot by doing that, and that just makes a lot of problems for my lower level friends. Additionally, it sucks when players work very hard to reach a league only to drop like immediately below. I think this would kind of offer a sense of accomplishment to those reaching new leagues and give them a little time to just, I did it. Let's not have to worry about losing it. Second, I would have the upgrade systems changed. I don't really see a purpose of copying the home village with their gold and elixir system, and I certainly do not see a purpose of having it as a once a day star bonus. I know you said that the loot is now infinite. Well, I mean, yeah, but it doesn't mean it's good loot. It just means technically you can get as much of it as you want if you're willing to spend 20 hours. I believe that if a player wants to go at their own pace and upgrade slower, that is their choice completely. But if a player is willing to put in the work and grind, I feel like they should be able to do that too. So instead, I propose changing the function of gold and elixir entirely, adding a new resource, and changing the way and frequency in which it is earned. Here's how. Currently, as we all know, you gain gold and elixir depending on how good of an attack you do / how good your defense is. You would think this incentivizes players to do well thought out attacks, but again, it does quite the opposite. Well, what instead of this inefficient method of farming, we steal the concept from Clash of Ween. You can gain elixir by destroying random defenses in stage 1 and gain gold by destroying random defenses in stage 2. For one, you would have reason to intentionally attack, aiming for specific objectives rather than just surrounding the base and closing the app. And two, with there being a resource that is only obtainable in stage 2, it would also incentivize players to actually stay involved in the attack through to stage 2 all the way, instead of the current involvement of the first 10 seconds. Additionally, I propose the concept of adding a new resource, and that resource would be battle machine spare parts and battle copter spare parts. The names are just for example, just work with me. I propose that heroes are able to actually defend your base as well. It would be interesting if they were able to charge their abilities on defense too, based on how much damage they actually deal. That way you're incentivized to not just ignore them, and it also punishes attacks to just force quit. But that's again all concept. But with the heroes being able to defend, it would be cool if when they're killed they drop their own spare parts. More spare parts drop depending on what level they're at. Obviously, a level 35 battle machine should probably drop a little bit more than a level 5 one, but these spare parts would be how you upgrade your own heroes. This method will increase gold and elixir earned and reward you for playing hands-on rather than just closing the app. Additionally, it would force you to actually play all the way to stage 2, that way you can upgrade your defenses and your battle copter. But how would the upgrading work? Well, it's just a side base. I think it should take way less time. In fact, I think it shouldn't take any time at all. I would love to see a clan capital style of upgrades in the builder base where once you have enough gold to upgrade a defense, you can instantly complete it. That way it would be more of a quick rewarding system that rewards grinding instantly, rather than one that's like, okay, you just grinded for 2 hours, I'll see you in a week. Additionally, you could upgrade heroes instantly and troops instantly, etc., using the hero spare parts for the heroes, the elixir for troops, and the defenses you use gold for. So, I know what you're thinking. What would be the point of having a good defense? If it's no longer a player attacking me when I attack them, why should I care? Well, that is because in the new events I'm going to suggest you will need good defense. That's right, I propose adding events to the builder base. And to kind of explain it simply, we're basically just stealing the concept from Clash Royale. So first, I want to explain the reason behind this. As I mentioned, the builder base itself lacks a purpose. So here is my idea. What if the point of the builder base was to have fun? I know, it sounds kind of stupid, but think about it. Supercell's two other most successful games, Brawl Stars and Clash Royale, they have something that Clash of Clans doesn't. A sense of instant enjoyment. In Brawl Stars, you never need to wait for any upgrades, you can always just play. The same goes for Clash Royale. And it isn't that you can't necessarily do the same in Clash of Clans, but I think it's a bit more difficult. In Clash of Clans, waiting is pretty much a built-in feature. You need to wait to upgrade your defenses, your troops, your heroes, you need to wait for your army to train, you need to wait for the war day to start, you need to wait for raid weekend, you need to wait for the legends day to start, etc. At a certain point, there's nothing you can really do some days in the game, so you log off, at least until your army is finished or until war is started, whatever. This feels like an empty space needing to be filled. And what if builder base filled the void that is waiting for things to be ready? I almost feel like that was the initial intention of the builder base, but that it was just really poorly executed. Like it just became another base you had to wait on, but worse than the home village. You really only get resources once a day, and half the time you only have one builder, and even when you get 2 builders, it still takes upgrades a week, so it's a lot of waiting. But what if instead the builder base wasn't another base to upgrade, but instead was a way to pass time? There's so many different event ideas for the builder base. I just keep coming up with them. Basically, it would be a new tab which allows you to play against other players at your builder hall, and there's a few options for how to play. For one, it would all be versus battle style. We're bringing them back, baby. And to prevent any ties, I feel like stage 2 could be made more difficult to act as a tiebreaker. I'll go further into that a little bit later. But if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. I would love if there were Bitter Hall specific events. Like, basically, if you're at Bitter Hall 7, you can go and match up against all other Bitter Hall 7s. And there would be a leaderboard of who the best Bitter Hall 7 is. Maybe it resets weekly, monthly, whatever. It's just a concept, right? And this would just offer so much fun to all levels who can actually just compete with each other instead of having to wait until they're a Bitter Hall 10 to have a fair shot. And I could see myself and many other players making new accounts to just take part in these events, to play as a Bitter Hall 7 with other Bitter Hall 7s. As I mentioned earlier, your defenses and your troops would all be the same level as they are in your village, so it's like, okay, you can play competitively, but let's upgrade your troops and defenses so it's at least fair. You're not going to be running into extremely over-leveled players, though. It's not like you're going to run into a Bitter Hall 10. The most you'll run into is your Bitter Hall level, which of course maybe it's still a little over-leveled for you, but it's kind of your fault. All right. Additionally, you could copy the concept of Clash Royale, where you pay, say, 50 gems to get placed in a 12-win challenge. If you get the 12 wins without losing 3 times, you get one of those brand new legendary chest things, for example. I think both of these concepts have a very good place in the game, but additionally, I would like to suggest a series of temporary events. These would unlock at certain builder halls and last maybe a week each. Like, let's say there's a base building event that unlocks at Builder Hall 10. In this challenge, you and your opponent are given the same random combination of defenses and walls, and you have 1 minute to kind of quickly build a base, you know, and make it into a good layout, and then you both have to attack it with, let's say, like 3 troop camps, right? That way it's not going to be overkill. The first stage is going to defend, but whoever defends better and does the better attack will win. You know, it's something cool like that, where it's kind of wacky. It's not exactly like Clash of Clans or the Builder Base currently. It's more I don't know, random fun. And for 3 days, this would be something you could play for fun. You wouldn't get any rewards, no leaderboard, none of that. And then for the next 4 or so days, it's like the Clash Royale Global Tournament, where the players have 4 days to get as many wins as they can before they lose 5 times, where the more they win, the more rewards they might unlock on one of those reward tracks. And additionally, whoever gets the highest amount of wins gets a special badge. That way it's like, oh, dude, I want to play in this so I can maybe get a new badge, and I can play in this because everybody's at the same level. And then maybe the next week it's a new challenge which unlocks at Builder Hall 8. Now here's the interesting thing that I would like to see, is that players at Builder Hall 8, 9, and 10, they can all participate, but they're all brought back down to the level of Builder Hall 8. That way everyone is the same level. If you're a max Builder Hall 10, you'll just be a max Builder Hall 8. If you're a rushed Builder Hall 8, you'll still be a rushed Builder Hall 8. Fix the rush, right? And anyway, in this challenge, both players are randomly given, let's say they're randomly given the same army, and it could be 5 bombers and a giant, and whoever does the better attack will win. Yet again, this would last for 3 days for fun, 4 days competitively, special badge, blah, blah, blah. It's more interesting, right? Because you're just thrown into this. Oh, here's a challenge. Let me do an attack with a random army, and my opponent has the same army as me. I got to do better than he does. Let's see who can do it better. I don't know. It sounds fun to me. And yes, there's an option to play it competitively, but you can also just do it for fun and just be like, okay, I don't really know how to play the builder base, but it's not like I'm going to lose anything. All I can do here is just mess around a little bit past time, you know? This concept just has so much potential. There are so many different ideas for events that I've had, and I'm sure you guys could come up with some as well. I mean, the 2 I explained are just 2 that I have on hand. There are many other ideas I've had too, and honestly, I'd love it if you guys want to message me in my Discord or comment down below an idea for an event. I would love to hear your ideas, but they would just keep the game kind of interesting, fresh, and fun at all levels, and most importantly, it would be fair. It would be fair. You can't attack someone who's super over-leveled. It's your own level. You unlock it as you, I don't know. I like that idea. And additionally, you could gain rewards maybe along that reward track or in these grand challenges that could benefit the home village. Not sure. Again, all of it's a concept. But it would also offer players something to do to pass time. Because the versus battles are instantaneous, if you're waiting for an army to train in the home village, you could just do a few matches in the builder base, have fun, get a little careless, kind of maybe try and learn how to play it. You know, it would just be interesting. And again, yeah, the special rewards for the home village maybe could be a bonus. Like, okay, I'm waiting for my army to train. Let me try out this 12 win challenge. Maybe I do 4 battles in it, and then my army's done. So I do my attack in the home village. And while I'm waiting for it to train again, 4 more battles, and then attack, and then waiting again, 4 more battles. And oh look, I won the 12 win challenge, and I won some ore or something random for the home village, something like that. You know, it gives you something to do. And it would also give you a reason to actually max your base and your army, a reason to perform well and learn all the troops, and a reason to invest time in the builder base. Because it's no longer going to be this scary, oh, it's going to take me forever to gain loot and take me forever to upgrade things. It would be more of, okay, if I want to do this, I totally can. It's going to take some time, yes, but whatever. I don't need to max all my troops. Maybe I just max 2 troops. I don't need to max all my defenses. Maybe I just max stage 1. You know, it would be more interesting and more approachable, I feel like. And lastly, the thing I want to suggest is buffing stage 2. The best solution I see to buff stage 2 would be to allow players to merge defenses such as firecrackers and cannons. These 2 defenses kind of lose their purpose as you progress in the game, but if you could merge them, it would allow you to not only give them a new, but a better, more fitting purpose. Additionally, it would also open up space for more defenses to be added in stage 2 to make it more difficult. Stage 2 should not be easy in my opinion. I feel like it should be the tiebreaker to prevent players from going 50 plus and then 50 minus and just never gaining any progress. The merged defenses I'd like to suggest are the multi-firecrackers and the cluster cannon. The cluster cannon is basically just a scatter shot, you know, and the multi-firecrackers are basically the multi-archer tower, but exclusively for air. All of these changes and all these additions would aim to give the builder base new life. The most important changes, of course, are the solutions to the 7 key problems I first mentioned. Without these fixes, the builder base will continue to be unplayable and unenjoyable. But if any of my suggestions I made in this video were to be added, I truly believe it could make the builder base more enjoyable to players that previously wasn't enjoyable to. And additionally, it would offer a unique and exciting experiences to players looking to pass time. I mean, I feel like Builder Base 2.0, it added such a cool attacking system, so cool troop mechanics, but all that new cool stuff they added is buried underneath those 7 problems, so most people don't really actually know how fun the builder base is. Of course, Supercell, please feel free to message me with any questions, as I would love nothing more to answer them. You have to understand that this side of the game is extremely important to me. It is more important to me than I'm pretty sure most anyone else in the world. This part of the game is literally the difference between me having a dream job versus me needing to find a new job. My channel is directly linked to the success of the builder base. And if the builder base does well, I will do well. But when the builder base goes ignored, I as well go ignored. I simply cannot keep making content on it because it's becoming more and more impossible. I mean, I've done everything. I've done every combination of troop, every guide, every challenge army. I've attacked blindfolded, I've attacked with my nose, I've attacked with my feet, I've attacked underwater. I have hosted tournaments. With popular YouTubers. I've tried trophy pushing, but as I mentioned, I can't even do that anymore. I have tried so hard to keep this side of the game alive the best I could, but I simply cannot keep going like this. My channel will die, and as will the builder base. It is not a question of if, it is a question of when. So please, let's do something for the builder base, or at least speak about it, bounce ideas off each other. There's really not much more I can keep doing. I can't keep doing this much longer. All of my friends quit playing a while ago, and I'm not far from following them. The builder base has so much potential. And when I say it's a failure, I don't say it's a failure because what you added isn't good. I say it's a failure because you added something amazing and you never gave anyone the opportunity to use it. You never gave anyone the opportunity to enjoy it. Anyone who tried to enjoy it was met with 7 different problems to make sure that they couldn't have fun. There's so much that it could be made into and so much greatness that it could be, but it simply will never get there because it's never given the time. So let's give it just a little time. Just talk to me about it, man. I know so much about it. I will help you. I will love to answer questions. Let's work together and try and make this great. And people who are watching this, if you maybe comment down below any ideas you would like to see, any problems you have with it that maybe I didn't mention, and any solutions. And if you want to see it be changed, maybe comment down below that you would like to see it be changed. So, I don't know, makes it more obvious that there's more people in the world just than me who want to play it. Something like that, man. But it can't keep going like this.